Talking about nerds chatting, should we do a podcast?
What are we going to do a podcast on first?
Where dreams are made of, there's nothing you can do. Now you're in New York. Yeah, in New York.
See, that is funny. That is funny. It put a smile on everyone's face. I'm ready to pod. Are you ready to pod? Let's get ready to pod.
Welcome to Nerds Chatting, movie, TV, comic chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everybody to the Nerd Chatting podcast. My name is Nate, and with me tonight are my two very good friends, Ben and JB. How are you doing, boys? Do it in reverse order because Ben's got a mouthful of chocolate.
Oh my goodness! Hi everyone. Welcome to the chat.
So we are. I'll let them say hello in a minute. We are the Nerds Chatting. We chat about all things nerdy, movies, TV shows, comic books, sometimes games. Not today though. Today we're going to be doing none of these other parts of the show. We're just concentrating on Justice League.
So begins the end for Darkseid.
I've never seen a being this strong. Maybe one.
I spent a lot of time trying to divide us. I made a promise to him on his grave. I need to bring us together. There are enemies coming from far away.
This world is divided. No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian. It will fall in his name. I have turned worlds to dust. All of existence shall be mine.
I have a second chance. I am not gonna waste it.
He said the age of heroes would never come again.
Fighting the devil and his army. You know, I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us united.
It's time to stand. Fight. The time is now.
Bam, 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 bam. That's
Also, it's not Justice League.
no, sorry.
It's Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, we'll get into it. So last week, it was last week, wasn't it? Justice League was released. The Zack Snyder's Justice League. Anyone listen to this? Do I need to explain it?
Why don't you just give it a little explanation? Just a small one. Keep it tight.
It was released in 2017, but it wasn't. It was only half a movie, and Joss Whedon finished the other half because Zack Snyder had a terrible family tragedy and had to step away from it. Rumor has it that he was going to be fired anyway because of the critical reception of Batman vs Superman, and the Warner Brothers studio executives still don't know what they're doing, have never known what they're doing, and tried to gear shift and change into a Marvel movie, and they made the travesty that was the Justice League movie in 2017. And then the whole of the internet exploded, and hashtag release the Snyder Cut became a thing, a cultural phenomenon. I can never say that word.
Phenomenon. No, I can't.
Yeah.
Phenomenon. No.
Phenomenal.
So yes, that happened, and then I don't know if this would have happened without COVID. I think
I agree.
Had this sort of lockdown, this desperate need for extra content, the fact that it could be released streaming. We'll get to that in terms of the length. But yeah, so basically we've got it. Here it is. It's the director's cut. It's the director's vision. It's the original vision, ? But before we get to that, we're going to play the game that I set up some time ago that I can't remember the name of. So every time I'm going to change the name of it, we're going to call it Plot in a Minute. But it's not actually a minute. I'll choose the time randomly. That's the name of this section.
Right.
So, James, do you want to play Plot in a Minute, but it's not a minute?
What? How long have I got?
I'll give you 12 seconds. Ready?
12.
set,
No, wait,
go.
no. Group of people led by Batman. Baddie comes on Earth, wants to get free boxes, battles the Amazons, battles the people in the water.
Done. That's it.
What a poor showing, JB. What an absolutely disgraceful showing.
What are you talking about? That was definitely not 12 seconds. I know 12 seconds well.
Right, so I think anyone listening to this knows what it is. I don't think we need to say any more, do we? What did you both think of this 4-hour epic story? Ben, early opinion, brief opinion.
Brief opinion. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Would you like me to elaborate on that brief
Yeah,
opinion?
you can
Oh,
give
hi.
us more if you- Oh, the doctor's just walking past. Hello.
The doctor just walked past. Hi, Doc. Yeah, well, Zack Snyder's Justice League is to Justice League what the ultimate edition of Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice is to the theatrical cut of Dawn of Justice. So this film being a director's cut, for lack of a better word, of a film that we've seen before, and it is a much improved version of the film. And there's much more plot. Who would have thought that in 4 hours worth of viewing time? But of course, there's much more character development. Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman seem more well-rounded. There's a little bit too much random singing as Aquaman disappears into the water, which we'll get to later, for my liking. However, as a film that I have seen before, this was a better version of it. I do have one gripe about Batman, which I can get to now or I can get to later.
Let's get to it later. Put a pin in it for now, I think.
Put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in it.
JB, what's your opinion? Brief opinion.
My brief opinion is it is 100% better than Josh's version of it. I'm not calling it a film because it's 4 hours long. I think it's a TV series.
You never seen the Bible? You never seen the Ten Commandments? Those were like some 4 or 5 hour long.
Yeah,
films,
no, I'm not going to. This is if we're gonna put this in the classification of film, then it is the longest film that I've ever watched. But, however, I very much enjoyed it. It was, and as Ben said, it's not surprising there's lots more in there because it is almost double the length of the original film. Nate, what are your thoughts?
Ben, can you cut this out for me in a second? My lover, can you turn that down a little bit because I can still hear it through the speakers. And if you go into combat, that's going to be very, very loud. Thank you.
Hey, guess what, James? Don't tell Nathan this, but I'm not going to cut that out. I'm not cutting him out.
Did I sound like a jerk? Did I sound like a jerk doing that?
No.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Was I rude?
Yeah,
Tell me, was I rude? Did I sound like a jerk saying that? You can talk.
No, but
You can't talk because you've got a mouthful of chocolate like Ben.
it's chewing gum.
Oh, okay.
obviously.
Oh, sorry.
And now I can't hear it.
Oh. Should we do a test? Do you want to turn it up to the volume you want and see if Ben and James can hear it?
Not cutting any of this out, James. Not doing it.
No.
James, have you had a haircut?
No.
Okay. Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You look like you've had a haircut.
Okay.
I'd say Alison's giving your hair a little trim. Yeah, I can see what's going on there.
This is what you're thinking of is a bit like the Justice League. It's the same thing, but it just looks a bit different.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Nate, what did you think of this film, by the way?
I really, really loved it. I really, really loved it. I thought that the 4 hours didn't feel like 4 hours at all. I was really excited for it, and it didn't disappoint me at all. I mean, it's not a great movie. Let me just put that out there. Batman vs Superman Extended Cut is a better movie than this.
Interesting. I think I agree. Sorry.
But it's It's probably the closest to a Justice League / DC comic book I've ever seen on screen.
Okay.
Because it is really dumb in parts, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is dumb. It is. We're going to get to that though, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Brief opinion. Didn't feel like 4 hours. There was a point 3 hours in, almost exactly 3 hours in. Paused it for a toilet break, which is you can't do in the cinema, so amazing. And 3 hours in, and having seen the 2017 version, at the point in the story we were at, and I turned to the doctor and I went, "How is there an hour left of this movie?"
Yeah.
But that hour felt like a breeze. Felt like no time at all. It was just boom, 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 straight through. It wasn't like a complaint like, "Oh my God, how is there an hour left of this movie? I'm so bored." It was like, "Oh, we're at this point, and yet there's an hour left." Yeah, it was great fun. Even the dark stuff was really great fun.
It was.
It was a natural progression from what had come before. So if you take this as a trilogy of films, with Man of Steel being the first, BVS Ultimate Cut being the second, this being the final part of that trilogy, it fit perfectly with what came before. This cut of it did.
It's a direct sequel, whereas Justice League 2017 obviously is following on from the story of Batman vs Superman, but in its own way, it kind of, you can draw a box around it and it can be its own film. This one starts with the death of Superman. Like everything follows from the death of Superman. It's those the shockwaves coming out of his mouth as he screams as he's being killed. Like that is the trigger for everything in this film. So it's you pick up immediately after the death of Superman. I thought that everyone got a really good scene. Everyone got a really good thing to do. Wonder Woman's scene at the beginning when she's saving the children and the people from the terrorists was expanded and just looked fantastic and was great. Cyborg. I remember when we'd found out that. No, even before we'd found out that Zack Snyder was going to release this movie, how he'd been talking about in his version, Cyborg was the heart of the movie, and I remember just thinking like, how he's not in the movie at all? He's hardly in it, but no, he is the heart of this film. He's almost the star, and he's great. I don't know why I'm surprised by that. I guess I'm surprised because he had nothing to do in the last one.
Yeah, you've got a benchmark of something that is pretty crap and also doesn't have the content and of any of it. You've just got these what feels like random characters coming into a story that you've got nothing, no origin about it. They've just come in unless you've read the comics and you understand it and you've got some knowledge there. You can sit and watch this. I can sit and watch this. I did sit and watch this, and I could understand all of it from start to finish. There was no real gaps. Nothing. I could just go, oh shit, this is pretty good. I want to know more about Darkseid. I want to know more about it. I didn't know, like towards the end when their portals open, I didn't know who the two dudes were beside him, so I had to look that up. But that's fine. That's fine.
But then, my argument to that would be when Thanos was first in the Marvel movies, you wouldn't have known who that was. You just had to look him up.
No, you wouldn't. We'll get to them. I've got a few things about this. About how you have to do a comparison. I think of how Marvel are doing it, how Marvel have done it, and how how DC have done it. Or Disney. That's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's an interesting take, and Warner Brothers has definitely got it wrong. They've still got it wrong, but they've had a couple of good ones in there, but only a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right about the comparison thing. I think there's two comparisons to be made. Like you say, how Disney and Marvel have done their shared universe, but also you cannot ignore the comparison to the 2017 movie.
Yeah.
I think there's I've put a little note on the document, and I kind of maybe just want to just very briefly touch on this and then get back into the comparisons of the movies. But the 2017 Justice League movie has done something to Joss Whedon's reputation. It's kind of opened a hole in his career, and now looking back at the content that he's created, it does make you feel a little. It does make you sort of like tense up a little bit. Go on, Ben.
I don't think it's just what happened
No,
in his
no.
collaboration
No,
with
of course
that.
it's not. Of course it's not. Absolutely it's not. But that was the starting point of this sort of crack in the Joss Whedon and the Joss Whedon, like, because he was what we think of like Henry Cavill as like the geek god, who can do no wrong. He created all of this amazing content. Buffy and Firefly. Thank you. Exactly what I was trying to think of. And the Avengers movies, and he was thought of as this really exciting.
He could do no wrong.
Exactly.
Put a
And
foot
then
wrong.
suddenly we've got these cracks forming where, oh, maybe he's actually not that nice to women, and maybe he's not that nice to his wife, and oh, maybe he's racist. And lots of stuff has kind of come out, and it's just a little bit. It feels like just Justice League 2017 is this sort of, it sort of cracked the egg open, and doesn't seem to be any going back from it. It just seems we're doing a rewatch of the MCU films, and so watching Avengers, there's a couple of bits where you're like, okay, there's the bit where you see the girls screaming, and okay, yeah, there's the bit where it's Black Widow's bum, right? Got it. And it's a little bit, I don't know, it's icky.
Yeah. I think you can definitely tell why Ray Fisher was so vocally supportive of the release the Snyder Cut phenomenon. When you see this film, and you can see why he felt so aggrieved at his treatment once Joss Whedon took over, and some of the executives at Warner Brothers, and how there was, their alleged and perceived, bad behavior by people who were involved in the making of that film once Snyder stepped away, and it's dreadful, and it's such a shame. However, it's been put right now, so there you go.
Yeah,
we've got this film.
Yeah,
it's out there now.
I think let's move on. I wanted to address it. Just that that there's a funny feeling, but yeah. I think, should we go through the story a little bit? Because I think if we go through the story, we'll pick out some of the bits that we think, oh, actually, this was a really good inclusion, or this was a good addition, or a different good change. Like I say, it opens with Superman dying. It's really interesting that they focus on that.
I like that, because that was the bell that's been rung.
Yes, exactly.
His scream of his death knell sort of reverberated out, woke up all the mother boxes, and the mother boxes then called out and said, oh, hey, look, I'm here, come and get me. And that's what brought Steppenwolf and the Parademons to Earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought I got that right. Yes.
It was interesting how they changed the structure. So in the other one, you have the flashback, right? You have the ancient war. But in this one, that's like in the middle of the movie. That's when Wonder Woman explains things. Should we talk about the Amazonians a little bit?
Yes, shall we?
Yeah, they were great in this, I thought.
I mean, just fantastic. I mean, I remember thinking that scene was brilliant in the last one, but it's just another level. I also think that Steppenwolf looks fantastic, and the armor is better. He's a much more menacing. Just that whole scene when he comes down and takes the mother box, and the what are you going to call that building? It's not a prison. It's like a vault, right? When that falls into the ocean, the extra layer of that, and then and then when he comes out and he fights them, and then they're coming over the hill. Oh, I loved it. Just loved that scene. That's just that had you in tears, didn't it? Literally, the Doctor was crying in that scene.
Wow.
Because the Amazonians were dying.
Yeah,
it is emotive.
and
It is really emotive because they get nailed as well, don't they? I mean, they are getting pummeled by Stephen Wolf. Like he is just chopping people up and stopping
Stephen
stuff.
Wolf.
Yeah, he's just like Steve is just like smashing it up, and he's not. He doesn't care, and comes out when oh no, Diana's mum, what's she called?
Hippolyta.
Yes, her.
Hippolyta.
When she's looking, and you said that like the building goes into the water, she's like, oh yeah, this is done. It feels like she's just taking a breath, and then Stephen comes steaming out of that water, just flies up, and you're like, she's like, we're in deep shit here. Like the people that have got that mother box are in so much trouble. She isn't going to get close to it, and he just got a big axe, and he just rocks it on the ground. It's like everyone's just shitting themselves, honestly, and they are strong, powerful women, and they are running for their lives.
Yeah, it's great. And you're right. It's so. What's really interesting for me is that it because it's a sequel, not only to the other two movies, but to Wonder Woman as well. We know these characters. We know what they're capable of. You know, we know it's not just Wonder Woman. We know that the other Amazons are super strong and super. You know, they're amazing warriors. They're a warrior culture. So yeah. So when you see Stephen Wolf, as you say, just picking them off, it's like, oh, this is horrendous.
He's picking them off like flying ants. Do you know what I mean? There were flying ants are coming out. It's like, and you're just like picking them up. Like, I'm just going to pick that off. Like, chuck that away. Get that out of my house. I'm just like, I was just kind of like, it was upsetting. You can really see. You can just see it. Yes, Ben.
The other Amazonians, they're not as strong as Diana, are they?
No, they're not.
Stronger.
No.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
Amazons or Amazonians? Have I got that wrong? It's Amazons, isn't it?
It is Amazons, yeah. I said Amazonians. I was wrong, Nathan. You were right, as per usual.
Yeah,
as per usual.
Yes, I mean that was just great, and also I think that the parademons are a little bit more menacing in this. They don't feel quite so. They don't feel quite so sort of, annoying pests. They feel like they actually are going to cause some trouble.
Yes.
Well, they're captured. They are people from other worlds that Darkseid and his armies have captured and conquered, and they've been converted into parademons, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're kind of tragic figures, but at the same time, they're creepy, buggy, horrible, nasty things that you got to squat. So yeah.
Yeah. And then we get more things like the arrow being fired across nations to warn Wonder Woman. Loved that. Loved all that. I know that there's the joke of like as soon as anyone like Wonder Woman or any Amazons are on screen, they play the sort of tribalistic choral music. But I quite like it. I don't know, something about it.
I don't know if I do. It doesn't need to be every single time. I mean, we talk about Wonder Woman's battle like towards. It is at the start of the film, and they have the Wonder Woman music on, which is electrifying. It's just so good. It's so good. You're just like, I would love that to be my walk-on music if I was ever a wrestler. That's what I'd want.
Yeah. So then we actually get after Diana's found the arrow, then we get the flashback, right? Like the battle in the past, because she's retelling it to Bruce, and it kind of makes sense for it to be there.
There's some additions at that point as well, aren't there? Because I'm pretty confident in the Joss Whedon theatrical cut, you don't see Diana's mum or aunt there.
No, you don't.
You also don't see Ares. You see. Is it Zeus?
Yeah,
you see
Zeus
there?
is there.
Is it Zeus?
Yeah.
You see Zeus. You see the Green Lantern, and
Zeus is actually a man. They actually filmed him, but they've made him look bigger. So it's like Uncanny Valley. He doesn't look right.
100%. I think this is one of my small gripes with the film, was that this flashback scene just didn't feel like, in all of the world, like the CGI that we have, that this was the worst. It was almost like the Irishman. Is it Irishman with Robert De Niro in that we said looked awful? It just looked like that, and I just wasn't. I was just like, hang on a minute, is this like the worst quality from Nate Plus that I've got? What's going on here? Is my TV right? It just wasn't. Something wasn't right.
I
didn't think it looked too bad.
I didn't care. Yeah.
I didn't look too bad. I thought it was fine.
As well.
Yeah, well, you can
Go on, Ben. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry. Tell us more about the battle that happened.
Oh, Ares was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, played by David Thewlis.
Yes, and he was the one who actually it was his blow that with his great big axe of doom that actually it wasn't Darkseid though at this point, was it? It was Darkseid, or this is Darkseid's early form, and I forget what that is, but it's not Darkseid at that point. Something like that. Yeah. I don't get it. Whatever, fine.
Yeah, but in the theatrical cut, it's Stephen Wolf, because they just put him in everything.
Yeah.
They just removed Darkseid from the film completely in the first version, didn't they? Yeah, fine, whatever. I think it works better as this, but then my question is why did he forget where Earth was?
Oh, I don't know.
And not come back to it ever again.
Massive
if he's been there before but been defeated before, is it because it was his previous version, Uxus or whatever it is, and
maybe
as he evolved into Darkseid, he forgot about that? I don't know.
It's probably something to do with like the stress that he was under. You know, he had an axe in him, and he wanted to forget about a time at his weakness, so he couldn't find his way back. He probably didn't have Google Maps at that point, and
Google Space
couldn't
Maps.
say, "Hey Google, take me back to Earth." So I think that's what the problem was there.
Do you know what? I
Probably like,
genuinely...
I got a bloody axe in me, mate. I'm not going back to that place.
Yeah,
Smashed in my neck.
Mate, look at me axe. No, but genuinely, you know, it might be Stephen Wolf's betrayal. We don't know what Stephen Wolf did wrong, but it could be something to do with that.
He might have done.
You never know.
I mean, he's got a lot of whatever he did. He's got a lot of making up to do. I wouldn't. I mean, the worst thing I can think of is he probably took the jam at a Darkseid donut. He gave him a donut and there was no jam in it, and that would piss anyone off to a maximum like that. What? No jam in my donut?
What about this? Giving someone a jam donut, or giving someone a donut, telling them it's a jam donut, but it's actually a custard donut.
In the bin.
Mate,
bin, mate.
Mate, you've just swore at me. You've said the worst thing you've ever said to me. And that's what Stephen could have done. I really believe it.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we get the Aquaman recruitment scene, which is mostly the same, I think. It's a little bit more stuff going on in there.
There's no I hear you talk to fish line.
Yeah, and there's less when he disappears into the water, he kind of just mysteriously disappears, which I think is better than like jumping in and then booming away. And then there's
hang on a second, Nate. I quite like the fact that there's like a 5-minute build-up of Bruce on a horse crossing
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Valley or whatever it is that no one can cross in wintertime to reach this little out-of-the-way village, which is completely cut off during the winter. But Bruce Wayne can do it because he's Batman.
And then he has a helicopter. So why didn't he just fly there?
Well, there was a line in it. There's a line in the movie that says like, no, nothing can get to us. No ships or planes or helicopters can get to us. So like that's why he's done it. In the theatrical cut, people were saying like, why is he riding a horse there? Why is he?
Yeah.
But I think he does then ride his horse out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then gets the helicopter. Yeah. And then we get this. Well, the song. I mean, I think this movie could have been half an hour shorter.
What can I ask? What was the point of that?
Don't know.
I mean,
I think they sort of worship him as a god, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a bit like when you're cuddling a jumper. That's a little bit sort of freaky, isn't it? It's like that.
They also picked. I'm not sure about the background singers, but the main lady at the front, she had this kind of like crazy stare, which made her a little bit like felt like fanatical, and I suppose that was the point. But
she looks like the witch. That's what it is. She looks like the crazy woman in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Kevin Costner thing. That's what she reminds me of. Mate, that's exactly Thank you so much. That's what she reminded me of. It's just kind of like freaky, kind of like out of place. I didn't like it. It was weird.
It was a bit weird.
Do you mean Morgana?
Yeah.
In Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the one who when Alan Rickman walks in and he's throwing stuff all over the place and he's smashing the table, and she just looks at him side eyes and goes, "Something vexes thee." Is that the one you mean?
Yes. It's like a younger version of her.
Man.
Oh my
Very
god.
good.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's a very similar scene. It's not too much different. There's a lot more cyborg stuff after that. So basically, this whole section. So that we had the Don't Count Out Batman, and then we've got Age of Heroes. Right, this is the different acts. This whole section is just like, who are these people? Setting them up, giving us the sort of backstory, and you get Cyborg and his dad. I think all that stuff with Silas Stone is so much better. I mean, you actually get genuine reasons for everyone's motivation. You get Cyborg's mother dying in the car crash.
Yeah.
You get, I mean, Cyborg's dad, Silas, is, you genuinely feel for him. Like, you feel like he's a man obsessed with his work, and that's why he's let his family down. But then when his family, when he gets to his son who's had the car crash, you're like, he has a moment of, I have failed you completely, and he recognizes it.
Yep.
So much better.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, a question that I want to ask both of you about, because we're coming into the cyborg and the Flash bit, was it was great, but would you have liked to have seen those two bits in their own origin story, like separate movies?
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay.
And then being pulled together. So we get that. I guess this is like the Disney and Marvel type of thing. You had some character development. I mean, okay, Winter Soldier, that's a good point. You don't get an origin story too much about the Winter Soldier, but most of the other characters in Marvel, you do get origin stories for.
Yeah, their own ones, you mean, yeah.
Yeah, Ben.
Well, I mean, the movie is like a backdoor pilot for these characters, the same way that Winter Soldier was a backdoor pilot for the Falcon, and Iron Man 2 was a backdoor pilot for Black Widow. So this movie is acting as a backdoor pilot for Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg. BVS was a backdoor pilot for Wonder Woman, who then got her own film. And this film directly sets up Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash. And then nothing happens, or has happened. Nathan, I think you had your hand up first.
Well, 2 points. Firstly, I don't think it lines up with that Aquaman anymore. I think they're
no,
different.
It doesn't. Not anymore. Yeah. Well, because Mira's got
and the Mira, she's got a different accent, and Volko and the armor, and none of it kind of lines up anymore. That doesn't really work. But that's okay because Aquaman's dumb, so that's fine. But on your point, James, actually, I think I'm okay with it because I'd quite like a Cyborg movie where he's not like brooding and upset. I'd quite like him to kind of just be badass and just cool. And I think we've had his brooding and his upsetness and stuff now. And I would like a movie where he's just rocking it,
Yeah, and I think Ben, absolutely great point about the things like we had an origin movie for Black Widow, but she's always there. But we are getting one now, and it's all kind of after Endgame, and we know that she's whatever's going on there. So you're absolutely right. Is it so? But I don't know whether it would have been nice. I don't know. I think maybe because I knew more about the Flash because of the TV show, I could have easily seen a movie about like his dad going to jail and what happened and all that sort of stuff, and him creating his team in Star Labs and things.
Well, I think you'll get that. You will get bits of that in a flashback scene in the Flash movie.
Well, more than that, I think the Flash movie is going to be a time travel movie.
Oh, it's going to be Flashpoint.
So, yeah, sure. Absolutely. So I think he will go back to save his mother.
Yeah.
So we'll see that whole scene, and then he'll go back and save her, and then it will change the timeline. And you're absolutely right; it'll be Flashpoint. So I think, we will get that. I don't know if we'll get that with Cyborg. I don't know if we'll get his own movie. But Flash is getting. I mean, they're forging ahead with the Flash movie.
Okay.
They've removed Ray Fisher. I think was going to appear in the Flash, and I don't think he is anymore. And it's a real shame because I think that Ray Fisher's Cyborg is great.
You say that they had done that. Now this has come out. I think I mean, the last point on my menu for tonight was to talk about the future, but I think that this will have, much like Superman's bell ringing, this will have ripples in the Warner Brothers movie
Yeah, but
studios.
do you seriously think though that Ray Fisher will want to work with Warner Brothers again after what they've put him through? Allegedly.
No, I know what you're saying. I think there are always circumstances where they could do that. If they got a director that respected, the craft and respected the people, if they got a story that really worked for him, if they got something that respected the origin of the character, but also respected diversity and progression, I think he might come back. I think if you got it to a point where it was a statement film, I think you'd get him back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Anyway, so I mean, I think we should sort of rush through the story a little bit more because we're kind of hanging on some stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Gotham Harbor which is very similar, but better. Flash isn't quite so much of a dork, and I mean that amazing scene where he stops all the rubble hitting people. That was wonderful.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I
Yeah,
love the Flash. I have to say, I love the Flash. I love the comedy that he brings, the innocence that he brings to the whole thing. You've got Batman who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and then you've just got the Flash. And that's what I mean. It feels like he's quite. It's obviously very early in his like superhero life.
Yeah.
And the
innocence,
fact that
that's the word, James. You got it. Innocence.
and the fact that he hadn't met Iris until coming out of the dog, the pooch parlor.
Pet store
That's
or
right.
something. Yeah.
Pet store, whatever it was, and the car crash and all that sort of stuff. I didn't like
scene.
it was double. Yeah, great scene,
It's a
but
good scene.
double car crash. Double car crash for Cyborg and the Flash. Could have mixed it up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
Jack,
they could have
Zack.
done. Yeah.
I need to call him Jack then. Jack Snyder.
So I mean, all that stuff. Yeah, blah blah blah. Then we get to the incredibly improved scene where they discuss how to resurrect Superman. I mean,
they actually explain what the mother boxes do.
Exactly. Like in the previous version, you're like, why are they doing that? I don't. What's going on?
I can guarantee you, right? When I saw the Justice League, I would have asked you two what the hell that scene was.
Yeah.
I didn't. And that's a sign of what the hell is going on. This time I was just like, okay then. So there's 3 boxes, right? I gotcha. Right. Okay. Yeah. And this one does that. Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. Oh, and how did they get this one? Oh, through the Nazis and stuff like this. Gotcha.
Right.
Everything's
that
like
was
ticking
really
my
good.
boxes.
Earlier, the doctor said, "Well, how did the humans get that back then?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure." And then we get an explanation. The Nazis dug up. That, like, yes, and I know they do lay it on a bit thick, and they do the Star Trek thing, right? The Star Trek thing is they have one person say something really sciencey, and then they have the person beside them say something really dumb, but it's the same explanation. So it'd be like, I can't even think of an example. It'd be like a wormhole. No, they'll be like it's a space-time rip and the quantum physics of blah blah blah, and then someone say it's a wormhole to another dimension. And like that's like, all right, okay, you've explained it. Okay. But they do that in this. They're like, fire turns a house into smoke, the mother box reverses it, turns the smoke into a house. Like, and then they resurrect Superman. And yes, it's dumb, and yes, it's comic booky, but it's better. Like it doesn't rely on this stupid thing of the lightning bolt has to hit at the exact moment that hits the water. I mean, it does happen like that, but it's not.
But you see the Flash turn back time because he misses it a little bit, doesn't he? So
that's Chekhov's loaded gun. They've just brilliant. They told us what could happen. They told us how to do it, and it just didn't feel like a PlayStation 2 game mechanic. It felt like an actual story point.
Yep.
No,
it really did.
And then you get Superman coming back, and I was surprised that it didn't go into the nightmare scenario. I thought it was going to go into the nightmare scenario, and then they were going to have to go back in time to reset it. I thought there was going to be a whole lot of that. But no, the story then is very, very similar to the Justice League 2017. Lois more or less saves the day, but that whole fight is again much improved. I thought Batman doesn't seem in the 2017 one, he seems like an out of shape, uncomfortable, old man. Whereas in this one, he's got the armbands that like can stop it, the laser eyes, and like he actually does put up a bit of a fight, and yeah, good.
Yeah, without trying to put up a fight, he does put up a fight, or he protects himself, doesn't he? Yeah. I thought that was a much better scene. I mean, Lois doesn't get an awful lot to do in this film, like she didn't get an awful lot to do in the previous version of this film, but the scenes with her seem a lot more realistic and in no way forced.
I think that's just a perfect point. The scene in the Joss Whedon film where Martha and Lois are talking is the dullest, most pointless, horrifically shot, bland scene I have ever seen in any movie. It's so dull. It's so boring. I'm like, why does this exist?
But tell us what you really feel, Nate.
And yet in this one, there's also problems in this one. When Martha comes to see Lois, it feels genuine and it's really heartfelt, and it's like, oh, it makes sense because she's moved out of the farm, and and they're having like this they're sharing this compassionate, they're sharing in their pain.
Like a bond. It's a bond, isn't it?
Yeah. And then she steps outside and it's Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. What's going to happen when they have that conversation? Because they're probably still in touch, aren't they? So when Martha says, well, you don't remember when you came over to my apartment that I used to share with Clark and we were talking about this, and she's like, no, I don't remember that conversation. That never happened. What's going on?
Can I ask a question though? Is it that they're not that close?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe.
Because it feels like that at no point in the film have they've made any contact. It almost feels like, when you've got a friend who is a connection to another friend, and you only see them when the other friend is around. If the other friend buggered off, you would never see that other person. So like with Clark not there, they're both going through loads of pain. So maybe they don't actually really like each other. I don't know. No, I don't mean that. But
I know what you mean,
they've got nothing. Seeing each other brings the pain forward. They remember the pain, and the first time they see each other is when Clark's back at the house, like touching up the field.
They're reminded of their joint loss.
Yes, Ben, exactly right. Yeah, because it's upsetting, and sometimes you don't need to see that.
Yeah.
So I don't like anything with Martian Manhunter in this movie. I don't like it at all. I don't think it looks good. I think it's a pointless, crowbarred in waste of screen time.
The final scene with him is a reshoot.
Yes, it is.
Did you know that?
Because Ben Affleck looks completely different.
Ben Affleck looks cut in that very final scene. He looks incredible.
He does.
And apparently the nightmare scene at the end as well, which I'm sure we'll get to, was a reshoot as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
storyline. Superman's back. Chooses the black suit for no reason whatsoever, but it's kind of cool, so go with it. Whatever.
Sure.
Then they go to get the mother boxes and Speed Force stuff. No Russian family, so it's you can actually spend some time with the Justice League.
Yes.
The fight is great. Feels like actually everyone has something to do.
Yeah.
Feels like there's a plan. They actually have a plan.
Yeah, it's not assemble the Justice League and then Batman telling everyone to wait in his flying machine whilst he goes and fixes it all. They actually work together, and I really liked seeing them work together. And there's even a bit where I'm going to call it an Avengers moment, but you know what I mean when I say it. In the Avengers movies, there's always a scene where you see the Avengers team working together, and there's like a slow-mo shot, and you see it. You get that in this. You see the Justice League all coming together at one point, and it slows down. I mean, there's a lot of slow motion in this movie. There's an awful lot. That felt like one of the best uses of it. And it's at that point where the music by Junkie XL, which I thought was great in this movie as well.
Yeah, it was much improved on Danny Elfman. Much improved. Yeah,
much improved. It crescendos at that point, and at that point, I think I was like, "Yeah, this is great. This is great." I mean, I was already enjoying it at that point, and this is like at the 3-hour mark, and I was like, "Yeah, this is just what I wanted. I wanted this."
And so Flash is doing something important in it. You know, he's building up the power to send the spark again, which we've seen he can do.
Yeah.
Taking him a lot longer this time with a lot more run up, isn't it? Strange that.
But it feels like it's a level up again. It's trying to do more.
Yeah.
Cyborg, you get a better explanation of what he's doing with the mother boxes. He's going inside them, and he's sort of being tricked by them. That they have like a persona. That's really good. And then when Superman turns up, it's brutal. Like it's a genuinely brutal fight. He is it. In the Joss Whedon version, you felt like it was just kind of like CGI sprites batting each other around. It's just a computer game. Didn't make any sense. In this one, when there's punches going on and when he's doing the laser blasts and laser eyes, like it feels brutal. Like so much so that he cuts off one of his horns, and then the decapitation. I mean, that took me by surprise.
Well, that's Wonder Woman, isn't it? You know, she's got a little bit of a. She likes the old sword action and giving it a bit of a old head chop, doesn't she? She doesn't mess around, that woman, does she? No. I like it. I really like it.
And then we get like, I mean, that's more or less the end of the movie, but it's not, because we get all the epilogue and all the stories, everyone going their separate ways, or rather not, so, you know, doing their own thing but still staying together. Very surprised by the Lex Luthor inclusion. Still thought that was a Joss Whedon edition. Don't know about you guys,
but again, that was directly setting up the Ben Affleck's Batman film, wasn't it?
Yes,
because
it was.
Deathstroke was going to be the villain in Ben Affleck's The Batman before that all got binned off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm being stupid. I thought it's Slade Wilson Deathstroke.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
he was in Arrow the first couple of seasons.
Yeah, I know. That's why I recognised it, and I was like, oh yeah, I know Slade Wilson. I know this dude. Yeah. Initially I was like, is it Arrow or is it Flash? And then I did remember it was the Arrow, and then I didn't. Then in the nightmare scene, I was like, who's that dude? He looks like Slade Wilson, but they called him Deathstroke. It must be someone different. Is it his brother? Sorry, stupid. Sorry for being stupid, nerds.
Don't worry about it, mate. You're all right.
And then we get the nightmare sequence, which I really hated.
Really... I didn't like that either. I thought it was odd, very odd, and I don't know why. If this franchise isn't going anywhere, I look at you and I with questioning eyes. If this franchise isn't going anywhere, what is the point in including it? I have no idea why they're including it.
Well, addition to that question, or other additional clause, why shoot extra stuff for it? Like if it was his original stuff that he filmed, then put it in. But they went back and they've filmed extra stuff for this.
I think some of it was shot already, but I think any scene with the Joker in it, and Batman talking to the Joker was freshly shot. You see what I mean?
Yeah, possibly. So the stuff with Mirror and the Flash and Deathstroke was
already shot in the can.
Maybe.
And then this other stuff was new. And apparently Joker and Batman were never actually on set at the same time. So
I can believe it.
Playing, But I don't know. Who knows, man? Who knows? That could all be rumor, and I might have got it wrong. Go on, JB.
Tell me about the nightmare scene, all right? Because I quite liked it. You didn't like it, but I liked it because I was like, oh, okay, this is different. So obviously Superman's gone apeshit because Lois is dead. But is this because? Well, that's what I think. Is this something that's in the comics or something else, or is this just what's this? What? How does this fit in?
Okay, just for context, I like the concept of it, and I like the idea of it. And I liked it in Batman vs Superman when it was a nightmare that he had. I just don't know why. I just don't know where it fits in this movie. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It felt really weird at the end.
It's
Of
just
it, right?
it's like an add-on that you didn't need.
Yeah, I was just like, if you're going to make a movie about that, cool, that'd be great. I'd really enjoy
Mhm.
that. That's an interesting concept, right? But I just didn't get it. So it's sort of based on the computer game Injustice, which is yeah, it's a computer game. It's based on the Mortal Kombat engine, and it's just where the DC superheroes fight each other. And the
It's also a
story
comic. It's also a comic.
yes, but the comic came after the game.
Sure.
To this, and the comic is trying to explain the storyline in the game. And in the game, you get the basic setup is the Joker fools everyone, specifically tricks Superman. I can't remember the exact reason, but Superman kills the Joker.
Right.
But then
Hang
it's
on,
revealed-
Nate. Hang on. So Superman fools. No, sorry. The Joker tricks Superman into killing Lois Lane.
Wasn't I just about to say that? But you just cut me off.
Oh, sorry. I do beg your pardon. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. I'll fix
Well,
that in the edit. No, I won't.
Superman does kill Lois in the computer
Yeah.
game.
Let's just bin Ben. Bin Ben. Yeah. So basically, Joker fools everyone, and Superman swoops in and kills the Joker. But then it's suddenly revealed that actually it's the Joker fooling everyone, and that is Lois Lane. He kills Lois, and because he kills Lois, he has a massive breakdown, and that breakdown causes him to turn so much to what you would say like a Darth Vader type thing. He wants to bring justice and control, but with that comes this sort of evil side, right? And so then the world becomes a sort of dark version, a reflection of our world.
Okay.
Now, in this film, apparently, I don't know if you know this as well, Ben, but there is the story of what the sequels would be is as follows. I'll explain. So we see Lois Lane has a pregnancy test in the drawer.
Yes.
Supposedly, after Clark dies, Bruce and Lois have a relationship. And there's a question mark as to who is the father of her child.
Right. Okay.
And Superman believes it's his child, but Lois dies, and Darkseid comes in and corrupts him and takes over his mind, and he becomes a foot soldier for him, and then Anti-Life and that scenario happens, right?
Right.
But the Flash going back in time to say Lois is the key.
Yes.
Apparently that doesn't work. So they send Flash back again. And in this universe, time travel has to happen at the exact same time, but a year later, because the Earth has to be in the right place.
Oh,
So
right.
Flash,
Yeah.
so they have to live a whole year in the nightmare, and then and Flash goes back in time. It doesn't work, and then they have to live a whole another year in the same time, so that Flash can go back and tell Bruce to tell himself. He has to tell Superman that the child is Bruce's, even if it is or isn't, so that Superman kills Batman, thus saving Lois.
Oh, right.
And therefore Superman doesn't turn evil. So Batman sacrifices himself, not knowing whether the child is his or not,
Right.
so that Superman doesn't turn evil and destroy the world.
Or
That apparently is what the story was going to be.
really, because we've seen a bad Superman already, haven't we? And when he's like, he gets really when he's in the scrapyard and he's just horrible.
That's
And
Superman 3.
yeah, and he's like basically pushes like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and things like that. I mean, he's angry then. I mean, he's really, really angry.
So them having released that sort of synopsis, and apparently Jim Lee has drawn like almost a whole comic of this, or he's drawn loads and loads of storyboard art for it. though that got pulled off the internet, so I don't know if it exists anymore. But they're probably not going to make that movie now
Right. Okay.
because they kind of released the whole plot online. Um,
Bonkers! I didn't know any of that.
yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. And there's a few other points on here. So we've talked a little bit about like the action, the effects. I think the effects for the most part are pretty good, but there's a couple of ropey bits, maybe.
I think so. I've said about the uncanny. You mentioned about the uncanny valley, and that was a little bit meh.
I think Stephen Wolf looks, I mean, so much better, but still so.
Yeah, I think he looks brilliant.
I like his armor. I like how
Yeah.
when they hit him with the arrows, the Amazons hit him with the arrows, his armor just absorbs it, and then he's like, he's sort of like like that, and his the armor sort of cuts all the arrowheads off and throws it all away. And it's just like, that's badass armor. I like that. It's like nanotech armor. I'm all
Also,
for
the way
it.
it like retracts when he's speaking to Darkseid and stuff. I thought that was really cool, and you know it. That showed that they actually were his horns as opposed to part of the armor and stuff. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what we haven't mentioned at all is the aspect ratio?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what? I was aware it was there at the start, and then didn't care after that.
I agree. You just don't see it, do you? After a while, it's so weird. I was like, oh, this is going to bother me, and then like you say, 10 minutes in, I was like, yeah.
So why was it like that again, Nathan? Was it like that for IMAX or something like that?
Exactly.
That right?
Yeah. So IMAX isn't widescreen, but it's also not 4:3 square. It's a fisheye lens, so it's like widescreen, but then like a blob at the top and a blob at the bottom. But more or less, that's as close to square as you're going to get in that area. So what that means is that IMAX scenes fill the screen more than normal. They do the widescreen, and then there's a bit above and below. Bless you. And then, so I don't know if you've ever seen a movie on Blu-ray that was released in IMAX. So, for example, The Dark Knight.
Oh,
so if you watch The Dark Knight, it cuts in between normal film and IMAX film because there were scenes that were filmed in IMAX and scenes that weren't. And what you'll see is that it's got a tight aspect ratio, so it's quite sort of thin and wide. And then every now and then, say like when the what's this Batmobile called?
Tumbler.
Sorry. So when the tumbler is in a chase scene, or like at the beginning, when it's panning over the buildings just before the Joker's men go into the bank, it suddenly cuts and fills the whole screen of your TV, and then it cuts back.
I have genuinely never ever noticed that, and I swear to you, I have not noticed that in the past before.
Yeah, it does do it. Never. And it's interesting. I mean, I saw The Dark Knight in IMAX, and it does during the film. It did it. It cut to the whole wide, and then it would cut back to normal, and then whole wide. And it's just because those big action scenes, just if they want to fill the frame. So what I think not just Sweden. Sorry, Zack Snyder's basically done with this is he said the whole film is an IMAX movie. I don't think it actually was all shot on IMAX, but it's probably been converted.
Because aren't there only like a certain amount of IMAX cameras in the whole world or something like that?
Yeah. It's really expensive film as well because it's not 35mm. It's like 76 or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. What do I know?
Well, I don't know. You might have done a degree or something on it, maybe. Don't know.
Yeah, I know one or two things about that.
Yeah.
It's never come up before.
No, never. Is there anything else we want to say about this movie? It was long, wasn't it? Wasn't it long?
I would say that it is really long, and
it zipped along though.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
It did. But is this movie like okay? I'm gonna like. Snyder had his vision for the first incarnation of this. Then some very bad things happened, and then he had to walk away. But I am telling you now, there is no way that he was planning a 4-hour film.
100%.
Yeah.
You said this before, JB. You said this isn't. I thought you said it really well, and actually, you planted the seed for this. This isn't the original movie that he was going to release.
No
There's
way.
no way.
There is no way you would have done it, and he would have got everything in. And I think we started at the top of the show where we said because of the pandemic and the way the streaming services have gone, you're able to then do all that. So there is no way you could. Okay, based on what was there in the first instance, and now what you've produced, because you've got a benchmark and you've got now everything that didn't make sense in the first one now makes sense in the second one. It feels like 100% better film, but it's still 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's still 4 hours. I mean, could I have remade the Justice League? I know I couldn't, but given an unlimited time span of length of film based on what we're all used to, like 2.5 hours or whatever, then all that content you would go in. This film would never be released in the cinema. I do not believe it, because people couldn't go and watch it. You have Avengers. Sorry, I've just got on my soapbox. I can't.
No, it's fine. I've got a thought. I just don't want to lose my thought. So
Avengers. Was the final 2 films were split in half. Really, because it was so good, so long, and that worked. Could he have done this with Justice League? I think he probably could, actually. I think he could have, but why was he trying to squeeze so much content in to a 2.5 hour movie? And he's got previous for this.
I think I might know why, but Nathan, take your point, because I know you want to make it.
I just think there's interesting bits in the movie that are fun and nice to have that you just know would go on the cutting room floor and would be DVD extras, like Wonder Woman making tea. It adds nothing to the movie, and all it is just a kind of nice scene between Wonder Woman and Alfred, and you kind of like, this doesn't progress the story in any way.
Yeah, this slows down the plot, so we'll cut it out.
Yeah. You could say it's an extra layer of Wonder Woman ingratiating herself in the life of Bruce, because there's clearly some sort of romance there, but it's tenuous, right? Like, it doesn't really add to it. Also, Ben, sorry, I know you got a point, but you're right, James. It wouldn't be released in movies because you have to keep it short so that you can screen more screenings. That's how you make money. You get more screenings in, so you get more people in to buy more popcorn. So if you make it 4 hours, you can only show it twice a day.
Exactly right. And I think I think you mentioned, Nate, before, like, how many different versions of the Watchmen you've then got Batman versus Superman, which didn't make any sense without the director's cut. But that's like what, 30 minutes of extra content?
Yeah,
30 minutes takes it from 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah.
So he's got a lot there. Why doesn't he just like slice it up a little bit more? But anyway, Ben, please, I'm talking over you, and you've got something really important to say. I can feel it.
Well, no, I don't think I've ever had anything important to say ever, really. But I think in my opinion here, JB, this is what they've said to Zack Snyder. He's got all this footage of his cut of the film, and a lot of films that are shot have like possibly 5 hours worth of footage that they then cut into a 2 hour, 2.5, 3 hour film. I think what they've done with this movie is they've said, right, well, we tried to edit this into our version of this film, and we got the 2017 version, which some people loved, but was critically not well received and not a good film. And tonally didn't fit with what came before. I think they said to him this time with this film, right, well, this is your cut of this film, Mr. Snyder. Zack Snyder, this is your cut. We're going to call this Zack Snyder's Justice League. You put on the screen what you want this film to be. We will not force you to edit anything. Although apparently the one bit of feedback they did have was at the end, when Martian Manhunter comes down to see Bruce, which was a reshot scene, which was a reshot for this movie. Zack Snyder wanted it to be Green Lantern. Warner Brothers said, no, you can't use Green Lantern. We've got other plans for that. But apart from that, they said, go and do what you want to do. So this film wouldn't have been a 4 hour film in its original cut. It possibly would have been 2.5 to 3 hours, but it would have still been more like the film that we just watched. There might have been a little bit less slow-mo, or the slow-mo might have been edited down a little bit. Scenes like Diana making tea with Alfred would have been on the cutting room floor. Other little bits and pieces would have been tidied up and trimmed here and there, and we might have got a 2.5 hour, 3 hour film. Maybe some of the Nightmare stuff wouldn't have been in there. Maybe some of the Lex Luthor stuff might not have been in. There's a multitude of things that might not have been in there, or might have been done slightly differently. However, with this being the version that the fans wanted, the Snyder Cut, this is what we got. He was given carte blanche. He was told, right, go and make the film that you want this film to be. We're probably not going to do any more unless it makes $1 billion. So go for it. So that's why it's a 4-hour film.
I'm going to do a Nate Turner prediction. Something's just come into my head. I reckon there's going to be a Justice League Zack Snyder cinema cut. So you can go to the cinema and watch it. They'll take what we've got now, 4 hours, and they'll cut it down to 3 or something like this. I am willing.
Yeah.
You know, Kev, listen to me on Disney Plus. Zack is going to listen to me for this, and we are going to go to the cinema and watch it on the big screen.
Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me.
I would watch it. I would watch it.
I would as well. Apparently, there's like a black and white grayscale version coming out called like Justice is Grey or something. Which, okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a bit like they did a Parasite had a black and white version, didn't it? That came out that was meant to be there. So I have a question for you guys that I was thinking about earlier. Do you think? Oh, I mean, I think I know the answer, but do you think our opinion of this is tailored by our dislike of the last one? And what I mean by that is, I would love a Black Mirror style thing where I could choose to cut out the memory of the last one and then watch this one and have its opinion just of this.
Yes.
I just wish I could see it on its own.
Yeah.
I have an answer to that question. I think I would enjoy this film even if I hadn't seen the original version of it. If I'd only seen this version of this movie, I think I would enjoy it. And my answer, my reason for that is since lockdown has started all the way back in March 2020, I've not really been able to sit down and watch a film, certainly a 4-hour film, past 9:30 at night, because I start to fall asleep. This movie, I started it at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night, and it held my attention the whole way through. And I watched the whole thing, didn't pick up my phone once, didn't feel sleepy or nod off. I watched the whole thing, start to end, 4 hours, smashed it. And I enjoyed it. I have some problems with it here and there. It's still not the greatest film I've ever seen. I do not like how they portray Batman as this shining beacon of hope after being a murderous, rampaging thug in the previous film. Batman in the comics is a member of the Justice League. He's brooding. He might smile every now and then, but he never turns around and says, "Hope, Alfred, hope, ha 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 ha, hope, hope, hope." He's like, "I'm Batman. We'll do this because we've got to." And then when people, come up to him and say, "Hey, Batman, you're great. Bruce Wayne, you're the best, yada, yada," he's like, "Yeah, don't get too close. Don't forget, I could kill you if I wanted to. I could kill any of you if I wanted to. I have contingency plans to take you all down." I don't like how they portrayed him as, "Hope, Alfred, hope. Yeah, everything's great. Woo, we're going to have a great time. We're the Justice League. We're best friends forever." I didn't like that.
I agree with you, Ben. I think if you picked all the characters and you picked all the different scenes, I think there are little bits of it you can go, that doesn't work. That's not quite how it should be. Like, Superman shouldn't wear the black suit. He's wearing it because it looks cool. That like in the comics, it's because it's a regeneration suit, and then he puts his normal suit back on. It's a beacon of hope. I mean, Wonder Woman basically kills a guy in front of loads of kids, like with her bracelets. She blows up a wall, and the guy's there. Like, there's loads of bits you could just pick apart. But I think what I do is I kind of I put a box around it and go, that's the universe this is.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, it's not the comic book universe, but what it feels like it. And that's enough for me. I sit there and I go, this feels comfortable. Like I'm in a nice pair of slippers.
Yep.
But they're new slippers, but they're comfortable.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I say those things about Batman and I still enjoy him in the film. I love the fact when he's getting the parademons are blasting at him, and he's like going, and he's like blocking it with his gauntlets that absorb the energy, because Alfred's a technical genius and can build stuff like this. It's such an improved version of the film that we got. The other thing I have to question is, why did Warner Brothers do it? Why did they destroy this film in 2017? Why didn't they release
There's
what
some dumb
we had?
people, aren't there? There's some dumb people in Warner Brothers executives. They're just not getting it. They're just not understanding what people like.
The level of studio interference with the DC films is beyond funny. It's just ridiculous.
But you haven't seen Shazam, have you?
I haven't seen Shazam. No.
Good movie. I reckon you should check that out. But you have seen Aquaman?
I have seen Aquaman. It was fine. It was colourful. I like the deep. The deep? No, the
trench.
What they call the trench. That's it. Beg your pardon. I like the trench. They were great.
JB, have you seen either of those? Shazam?
No, but Aquaman is on Amazon Prime, so I will be watching that. But I think there's other things I need to be watching on Amazon Prime before that. So I'll
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think there's a show coming on that I might watch. I don't know. Coming back to your question though, Nate, I think that the first incarnation of the Justice League will just be a whisper in the wind. People will be like, there was never that version, was there? You won't even know about it. It's gone. People will never talk of it again. It really won't. I mean, I would love.
Interesting. Like people say, like, "Oh, what's the version of Blade Runner I should watch?" They'll do that with this. Oh, yeah, they will.
But I don't know if they would. I don't think they would, because I don't think there is any comparison. Because
that's what I mean. People will say, "Oh, you don't watch the original." Oh no.
Yeah, because it's got too many plot holes. It doesn't have the right things in it. You have to guess. You have to work things out, and all this sort of jazz. So yeah, I would never watch that version of the film again. I don't think ever.
That's really interesting. That's a really interesting insight. I hadn't really thought of it like that. I guess I'd thought of them as like separate entities that because the kind of the 2017 Justice League kind of fits into Aquaman. I guess I kind of just thought that was like the canon and that was like the proper one. But you're right. People will go back like in 10 years time, if people talk about these movies at all. Yeah, like the kids will say, "Oh, which Justice League should I watch?" And people will go, "Oh yeah, you have to watch the Zack Snyder one."
Yeah, 100%.
That's really interesting. Ben?
I haven't shown my daughter any of the DCEU movies yet. We've done a full MCU watch, but I think that the DCEU movies are a little bit more grown up, especially this film with the amount of F-bombs that get dropped. There's like a couple in there, aren't there?
Yeah.
So I think what I would probably do, when I do show her these films, I will show her Man of Steel and BVS Ultimate Cut and Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Shazam and everything else that comes with it. But when we get to Justice League, I will show her this cut of the film. I will not show her the Joss Whedon cut of the film. I just won't do it, because there's no point in it, because it doesn't make any sense. And yes, she might go, well, how come in Justice League, which she'll call it, meaning Zack Snyder's Justice League, how come Mira's got an English accent? But then when we got to Aquaman, how come then suddenly she's American? And I'll say, well, Terrence Howard was Colonel James Rhodes in Iron Man, and then he was replaced with Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2 and all the films that came after that. They just made a creative decision and changed her accent, and that will be it.
She actually looks completely different as well. So yeah, she's got like strawberry sweet hair, like red hair in the background, isn't she? Like it's like cartoonish, whereas in this one, in Zack Snyder's one, everything's muted.
Yeah.
I would actually, if I was you, I would show Wonder Woman first out of all those movies. It's set chronologically first, and also it's quite empowering. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Yes, it is.
I don't know if I've got anything else to say about Justice League at the minute.
What about the future? Do you think there is any way that we continue here? in this vein of films, do you think we get Batfleck back? Do you think Cavill comes back and plays Superman? Do you think any of this means anything, or is it just this is it, or are we gonna restore the Snyderverse?
Well, I think they were saying that lots of DC movies are now going to be standalone because they've done like the Joker, and you don't necessarily have tie-ins with the other movies. Like Aquaman doesn't really tie in with anything else, does it? It's kind of its own story anyway. I think they'll do another one with these characters. I think it'll be the Zack Snyder reverse. James, do you have an opinion?
I think this film's come too late
Maybe,
in terms of it feels like everything else has moved on. You've already said like that Aquaman doesn't fit in. We've got Rob coming in as the new Batman. And I mean, you could go and you could have your alternate universes and things like that, which you've mentioned before. You know, like you said, I don't know if the Joker standalone is going to link into Rob's Batman. It might do. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
But then you're going to have the Flash. But you know, this could be like the epicenter now. This Justice League is version is the epicenter for things, how it can ping off. And you could have this. You could have, I think, different universes. I think. I don't think. Is it called? What do they call it? I'm sorry. It's DCEU, isn't it? Is that extended universe? Yeah. I think it's. Didn't you say that it would be because they've used universe? It could be universes and different bits all over the shop.
Oh, Ben, you're on mute.
Oh, Ben, you're on mute. Oh no!
I do beg your pardon. Didn't they rename it at one point to the Worlds of DC or something like that?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I think they did. Now that this film has had Flash doing time travel, that might be where you could get that, James. Where you could get the different universes, multiverses, because
time travel enables everything, doesn't it? Basically, yeah.
We've had reports that there'll be various different Batmen in the Flash movie and some other characters I can't remember, but they've cast basically lots of possibly Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, although he's come out and said that it's not done deal yet. He's got to read the script first. But I think you're right. I think it'll be things will come off of this and they'll do some with it and they'll do some without it. And I mean, Shazam 2 is being made, and also Black Adam's being made, which is part of that. So Black Adam ties into Shazam. Shazam ties into the Justice League movies, the Man of Steel movies. So yeah, and they've just cast Dr. Fate, haven't they? Pierce Brosnan is playing Dr. Fate in Shazam 2, Black Adam.
Black Adam, I think it's Black Adam. I think, yeah.
Keep on thinking you're saying Black Adder. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm done talking about this. Having said that, I would watch this again.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I haven't watched it again yet, but I was flicking through the channels last night, and it was on, and I rewatched the fight against Stephen Wolf at the end. Even I'm calling him Stephen Wolf now. I'm disgusted with you, James.
Well, I can't help myself. You know what? I can't. I just like. It's just like it's like so angry, Stephen Wolf, and that's like, all right, Steve. I mean, mate, you look pissed off. What's happened? Oh, you know my mate Darkseid, yeah. I gave him a donut.
Darkseid, he had a bloody accident, mate.
Yeah, he did. And then I thought I'd make it better by giving him a jam donut, but I took the jam out because I wanted it for myself. And it's just, I mean, there are people out there that are going to listen to this pod and hate me, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to mock it. I just find it a little bit funny.
So, Ben, where can people get in touch with us to tell us that they hate JB?
Oh, well, they can do that on social media, so they can reach us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Nerds Chatting, all one word, Nerds Chatting. You'll find us. They can send you an email, Nathan, at nerdschatting@outlook.com, and they can download this podcast from most podcast sites. So this is on nerdschatting.podbean.com. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. Search for Nerds Chatting. You'll find us. And if I had to rate this movie, and I asked people to give me their rating of this movie on social media, I would say it's 8 Batman gauntlets out of 10 Stephen Wolf axes. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
JB, have you got a rating for it?
I have. I'm trying to think of something just as good as Ben, but I'm going to just give it a standard sort of 4 out of 5.
Nice. And my review, as ever, my rating for it will be, I thought it was pretty darn good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's weird that I'd rewatch it though. Like, it's weird because there are some like hour and a half long movies that I'd be like, no, not watching that again. That's a pile of trash. Never. But this 4-hour movie, I would sit down and enjoy. Yeah.
Oh, I've just remembered the line that I wanted to put in.
Go on.
Oh, Batman is stoic. In this movie, he's not stoic. There you go. He's more emotional in this film. There you go.
That's true. Yeah.
Damn it. Never mind.
All good.
Right. So next time round, we're going to probably be talking about Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes.
I hope. But we also are thinking about putting in some minor podcasts, some mini podcasts when the Invincible TV show is released. So we can get some fresh, hot takes from James Bingham as a newbie to the Invincible universe. So one of those will come first. We're not sure which yet. But
yeah. We're recording this the night before the Invincible animated show comes out on Amazon Prime. It comes out tomorrow. I am so excited. I cannot even begin to tell you that
I thought it was Wednesday. I thought it was Wednesday today because we normally put on a Wednesday. But now you've said that. Is it 3 episodes that come out tomorrow?
It's 3 episodes. I think with adverts it would be like an hour per episode, but I think without that it's going to be like 45 minutes per episode. So there's like. There's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours worth of TV to watch.
Okay.
I think we should do our mini episodes on just each release that comes out. So we won't do 3 for tomorrow. We'll do 1 about tomorrow's release, right? And then after that, we'll do.
At what time is it released tomorrow, Ben? I'm sure you know this.
Genuinely, I have no clue. I won't be watching it until after I've watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier with my youngest daughter.
What program's that? I don't know that one.
I do beg your pardon. You may know it as the Autumnal Soldier and the Condor Man, or something like that. I forget.
Oh, you mean the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier? I got
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
So those will be coming in the next 7 to 12 days, let's say.
7 to 12 days. I love it.
That's the kind of like winging it bullshit that this podcast does.
Mate, that's every single podcast we do, and we've got to fix in that you're on annual leave next week as well.
Oh yeah, but that means I'm free to pod whenever. So
maybe squeeze in a lunchtime pod. Who knows?
Yeah, we could do it for a mini pod. Why don't we do our admin on the podcast so everyone hears how it works out?
This is great planning. Everyone is going to copy this planning.
Yeah, it's good radio. It's real good radio. Right, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much, everyone. Well, thank you guys for being on the podcast and talking about Justice League, and thank you everyone for listening.
Oh, I'll go next, shall I, Jay?
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go next.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Goodbye.
Cheers.